What's up, crew? This is William here, shooting from a weird room here in my parents' house before I go back to Stockholm. I thought I'd make this quick video here talking about the topic of perfectionism and pretty much why it in many aspects is a useless quality and in many aspects a good quality, and how you can actually overcome your frenetic perfectionism and actually use it more as a tool sometimes when it's appropriate, but otherwise just, to break the habit of always having to have everything so perfect. Because I know a lot of people with this is like a fucking pain in the ass to them. It is detrimental to their growth, their well-being, their hustle, everything. And I think a big problem for those of you who are perfectionists is that you don't really realize why, or you don't realize the alternative cost of actually having to have everything so perfect. So I think the easiest way to actually overcome this habit is to try to implement another habit, just habit stuff. And this habit is to utilize the principle which I just came up with, that is good fucking enough. Okay, so in all areas where you don't necessarily have to have everything perfect, you should aim for good fucking enough. Quantitatively speaking, this is around 80 to 90% of the finished result. Okay, so for example, you're working on an essay and pretty much everything is done. Like 80-90% is done. So rather than sitting all these, all the hours or maybe even days fixing the last couple of percent, maybe, a little bit better grammatical stuff, a little bit nicer front page, a little bit, smoother layout, fuck that shit. It is not worth it. You are missing out on so many stuff you can do to realize other projects, meet people, just, hustle on other stuff. And also, this doesn't only apply to, fucking work and fucking hustle, because I think you can realize the downsides to this. I know you're not dumb. I know it's probably a little bit obvious, but also on the smaller stuff, the day-to-day stuff, that's also where I think it's really, really important to really establish this habit. For example, you're shopping, or not shopping, you're trying to, you're going abroad and you're booking like a flight, for example. I know so many people, including myself back in the days, where I could just sit for hours and days like comparing the results, and at best I saved a couple of, $10, $20 like. And this is such important time where it's so crucial to establish the habit of good fucking enough. Like, go online, make a couple of comparisons and then go for good enough. Like, this is the best. You won't get much better than that. And because you will never get the perfect flight, and you will never get the perfect of anything. It's just waste of time. It's just bullshit. So really try to establish the habit of good fucking enough when you know it doesn't hurt to don't make it perfect. And there are, seriously guys, there are only a really, really few times where you actually need to get it perfect. Otherwise, good enough will do in everything. Okay, so also this is pretty linked to the 20-80 or the Pareto principle, which you probably heard about, to do the 20% that account for 80% of the results. There are good connections here. For example, when I go to the gym, I only do the 20%, which accounts for 80% of the results. I don't stay 2 hours in the gym, because I will know I will get 80 or 90% just from doing the first hour, like of the really productive stuff, like the constructive, the compound movements, my compound exercises. And I mean, it's working out quite good, I would say. And there's so many areas in life where this is like a good parallel to, that it is actually good enough just to do it with 89%, and you can spend the other time do other stuff. Also, another interesting parallel to this, that imagine, for example, that you're trying to improve on a skill and you've reached 90% of the total skill level. What would actually gain you the most benefit? To spend months or even years to just improve a couple of those last percentage, like to 91, 92, 93, or just spend a couple of weeks learning like 50% of a totally new topic? what do you think will benefit you most in the long run? Having like 10 of 50, 60 percenters, or just 1 at 93? It's pretty obvious when you set it like that, unless you're like a professional athlete or whatever. Then, but I mean, so that is another like really important thing. So you can see like this perfectionist stuff, always wanting to have the absolute best in absolute everything. Really, I mean, the downsides are a lot more than the pros. So I think that if you are a perfectionist, even if you don't want to like admit it, really, you know, do an introspection. Do I need to have everything perfect? Because it's not a bad thing if you realize it, because then you can, you know, learn this good fucking enough principle and just make that more of a habit. But then also when you actually need to get it perfect, you are there, you can make it good fucking perfect because it's your natural inclination to do so. So then you can combine the two and be powerful as fuck. And that's an area where I actually like, because I only like really often do it like good fucking enough. I rarely go to 100%, and that can actually be like a downside in a couple of things, because then maybe I will devalue a project and be rationalized for myself. I don't have to do it 100%. So that can also be a downside. So I'm not saying like perfectionism is fucking bad. The other side can be bad too, to only do it good fucking enough. But then it's important to, you know, for me, for example, to try a little bit more often, establish the habit of doing things, you know, perfect, just so I get the combination of the two. But yeah, so that's in this video. If you are a perfectionist, make this art. If you're not, it's always good stuff to know. So I'll see you in the next video. Like and subscribe if you like this. New videos every day, and see you in the next video.